What is the first step? At least I'll keep that record, but getting the reverse sweep would be ideal. Now they're on blue side this time around. We'll see where the priority lies, because Jace is still available, was left available and not picked in the last draft, so might see that in that final Nongshim ban, as we see BNK taking away the Sejuani, the Pantheon is kind of an unusual one, and the Nocturne.
That is some weird jungles.
Yeah, that's some, like the Sejuani, I'm like, yeah, and then the other ones, I'm like,
Well, now I think the Jace stock is kind of high.
Very high.
That's what I'm going to go with.
But you know what? They still have an extra ban spot for it.
True.
So I think they probably will lock it in.
I would like to see a Jace ban.
Then you can go first pick Talia for Vicla. I think
True.
that's what they're considering banning instead, or potentially even the Azir. So do see the Jace ban. Might just be Talia Azir as our mid matchup here.
No, surely not. Clear is just going to lock Azir, right? I mean, that I feel should be.
I hope so.
What's going to happen? Maybe he's like trying to tell Gideon that he wants to play this. Is Nefiri is another thing?
I guess it's Nefiri Ahri. Unless they take it away, but I don't think they will.
It does mean that Talia is harder to pick. Calix could still go towards the Azir like you're talking about, but Ahri isn't a bad matchup into the Azir either. So I don't mind the Nefiri first pick, just given the fact that you can predict down the tier list what's coming.
Yeah, I wonder what jungle Gideon's going to lock in here, as there's still a few picks available. The Pantheon and Nocturne are gone, but which is also technically a flex pick, but I wonder what his game plan is here, because you lock the Azir. We've seen like Azir Lee Sin and Azir Viego be a strong duo in the past, but not sure what he's going to be looking for. It could be Poppy jungle.
That's true. Actually, wouldn't mind
it. High tier pick in general is great into Nefiri.
Yep, you can stop that one sort of ultra engage option with your steadfast presence. Kind of cool.
Opting for the Talia, which I think is safer, instead of the Ahri for Vicla. He's played both picks quite extensively. Let's be frank, everybody has this season. The mid pool is pretty thin for LCK 2025, especially with Fearless. It gets thinner, as we'll see Ezreal locked in here as well. So a lot of mobility, a lot of follow-up. I mean, Ezreal follows up really well on Nefiri, and Talia engages because he can ult, he can follow up from far away. Kai'Sa has felt less of a hard counter to Ezreal. I mean, it was never a hard counter, but it feels less strong at the moment than it was earlier on this year, where it was like, oh, if you're going to play Ezreal, you better ban Kai'Sa, but still is strong in isolation in the matchup, has great backline access. Not 100% sure how I feel about it, though, into this composition.
Yeah, Jiwoo has found some success on the Kai'Sa in the past, but I 100% agree with you. I think that it's kind of like the Kai'Sa-Xayah situation. It's more like you're just trying to get out of the matchup even really being a thing. As speaking of Xayah, her boyfriend going to be banned away here. No more Rakan to be seen from Kellin. He's a very good Rakan player, so understandable. They are going to ban that one away, especially with the Nautilus hitting the bench as well. Maybe Nautilus Leona going to be taken here by BNK.
I would not be surprised. Could also see a Leona ban here by Nongshim.
Rel is still up, though.
Rel is a classic, and there is no Alistair. I'll ban Braum. I do think that Rel is going to be played, if not banned here, 100% by one of these teams. The question is who ends up playing it, because obviously the Poppy is still a flex.
Yep.
It's looking like the jungle pick in this draft, which makes a lot of sense. Very tanky, very strong into the Nefiri.
I think a Rel ban is more important than Leona at this point.
I would agree. And I also think that, you may want to play Leona yourself if given the opportunity here.
Oh, never mind. They're going to trade.
Okay, they'll take away the Aatrox. And the Leona does come through snap-locked. So, what do they play into this?
Top lane
question.
Yeah, top lane counter pick as well, available for Kingen. Does mean that Clear needs to go for a blind. It's probably going to be a Gnar or something like that.
But you could go Gnar, but you could also go Aatrox or Renekton here. And be like,
I love Renekton, actually.
Renekton's so great for the single target lockdown. You already have the Talia, and Renekton's buffed on this patch as well, mind you. So
yep.
Stronger at level 16. So they'll take the Rel, which makes a lot of sense. I feel like if you take Gnar, as safe as he is, it's kind of risky into this composition. And I'd rather see something that has a little bit more oomph to it in mid-game team fights with the Talia pick that they have. So I feel Renekton or Aatrox, but Gnar is arguably the safest blind pick champion in the meta.
Yeah, it feels like the LCK choices. This is a
not safe. It's not safe. It's not really a safe pick. It's hard to kill, but it's a guaranteed lost lane.
Well, yeah, but you do have a lot of damage coming out of the jungle, so it gives you some team fighting, but it means that Kingen can play anything, as he's going to play the top lane Nidalee.
Yeah.
That Zeus kind of terrorized us with.
Kingen is like, I will literally play anything. He has shown us that, for better or for worse this season. And the Nidalee ends up being one of those stronger picks on the top side to punish the Sion. The Sion almost felt like, to me, it was a denial pick, because we've seen so many Sions into Naafiri, it's so hard to break that health pool. Even with the Ezreal here, it's just so tanky. And if you had Poppy Sion with this Azir comp, the late game teamfights get so tricky to play out. So maybe that was the thought process, but now you're kind of guaranteed this hole in the top lane, and the Nidalee can just split push all the way to the ending if given enough space. I don't know if Kingen's going to have a Zeus level performance here on this pick or not, but it is going to be a tough one, I think, for the Sion and just in general for controlling the early game.
It does feel to me like Nongshim are definitely more looking at lane matchups rather than at team fights. Because obviously, AD Nidalee that we are likely to see, which is what we saw out of Zeus earlier on, does not team fight at all. It's just not a thing. The rest of the composition is a little bit dive, it's a little bit disengage. Yes, they have some tanky members, but I think they're going to be playing around side lanes more than for these team fights. And a Sion doesn't care about a Poppy.
This comp, though, when does it fight? You know, it doesn't have a strong mid-game team fighting comp. You know, it needs 2 items for the Ezreal. It could potentially get picks with the Talia, but it's very risky. I feel like this comp, pretty robust start to finish, especially with the Literally in the top lane, pushing super hard.
Well, we'll see how it goes as we dive onto the Rift for game number 2. All right, here we are. Onto the Rift for the second game, and already we've got some thumbs up being thrown out, some things being discovered.
Lane swap detected.
Yeah, something like that. As we've got Kitty Cat versus Doggo, which is kind of cute, with the Naafiri versus the Nidalee. Although, you know, Nidalee is sometimes a lady, but still, it's kind of cool. Nongshim now just trying to see where everything is at. And going down the line, let's have a look at some of these lanes and what we expect for the early stages of the game. Because I think one of the big deals is Raptor getting ahead. Yeah. If he doesn't get ahead, BNK, I think, are going to have a very tough time.
He's going to have to, I think, play through the top side quite heavily post-6 and try to punish this Nidalee before she gets a hull breaker, because when Nidalee gets a hull breaker, she breaks the hull. And you can't really kill her, and even if multiple people come up to try to stop her, then that's when the cross-map Azir just kills turrets, and like you always have problems in sides that entire time. There's Grasp Nidalee. She started Doran's Blade. We know what we're in for here. We've seen it before. And Clear also, I'm sure, has seen it, but he's going to live it now. And it's not going to be pleasant for him. I look at the Ezreal in the team fights and I go, okay, well, yeah, he's got great follow-up for the, you know, Naafiri and the Talia. You know, he can follow up at range. His ult is great, but doesn't do enough damage to really carry team fights for you until he gets that second item. Man, Sion is just... He's not going to have a good time, is he?
No, it's not really a happiness type moment. Speaking of Ezreal, he is going to get engaged on here by Lehends on the bottom side of the map. Voidseeker does not quite find the mark, as Vicla continuing to push up, but I think he's probably got Gideon in the back of his mind. Gideon, I think, if memory serves, is the one that had one of the greatest Poppy jungle performances so far this season. And so looking forward to seeing what we're going to get out of him in this game as well.
A Poppy with Prio is a scary thing. And top side, you're going to have that permanently. Bottom side.
Okay, Diable able to get himself out of there, as now Jiwoo in trouble. Shattering Strike comes in, barrier has to be employed. Diable does have Cleanse, remember, so doesn't have that extra battle capability with a barrier of his own. as Kellin and Diable winning out on that trade, and so definitely good to have a point of attack on the BNK side of the map.
I think this 2v2 is really tricky to play out for the Leona lane, and they tried to force it. They thought they had that one angle, but it backfired a little bit. Yeah, again, not disastrously or anything like that, but they do end up losing a little bit of control here. Jiwoo will grab a longsword and a refillable potion on this back, and the wave will crash here. Lehends trying to hold it.
Oh dear.
And, you know, will sort of try and do what he can. He might get this cannon. Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Even gets the appreciation zoom in. You love to see that. As Voidseeker doesn't quite get the minion, but that's okay. Vicla throwing rocks around here in this mid lane as Taliyah, one of his better champions, we could say.
Yeah.
In the previous series that they were able to win against T1, I'm pretty sure that Taliyah was one of his better games.
So frankly, Vicla had some abysmal performances at the beginning of the year. Like some games where we were like, this is not the same Vicla I watched a few years ago on KT Rolster, you know, but since then, I feel like he's been pretty consistent, and people keep bringing up some of the bad games because they were obviously standout bad games, but I don't have that much bad to say about him in the meta champion pool that we have, as you can see here. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Looking all right, as Lehends going to move on over, and Vicla doesn't find the last rock there, maybe a bit camera shy after we were talking him up, as Raptor looking to dive in and grab himself his Gromp camp, as Kingen continues to push. Not a lot of damage onto this turret so far. As you can see, this wave just going to crash in, but not really give Kingen too much space to get any meaningful damage. You can see the CS is negligible between the two top laners.
He hasn't taken his first back yet. Neither of them have. They both still have their teleports. Nidalee, oh, hold up.
Bit of an engage possibility. Shattering Strike, a great answer here as Kellin played that one out beautifully. Still, Vicla a little bit worse for wear as the Cathian rains down onto Diable. Sure how that quite makes sense, but it's kind of how the ability's named.
It happened and he pressed it, and yeah, it rained on him, so I think you're in the right here.
Heck yeah.
Raptor is lurking, but I don't think there's really an angle here. Just going to mention, Nidalee doesn't really use mana in this lane, and so can kind of just lock the Scion in forever, and we'll see those first backs eventually, no doubt, but the more pressure you put on, the more chances you have to demolish turret, and this will be the first time he actually hits said proc, and we'll get the plate. And Kingen can just stay here forever if you wanted to, but I think this is probably the best opportunity to go ahead and take it back. Decides to wrap around, though, and keep it a secret.
Ooh, that was Diable missing a button.
That does happen from time to time.
Yep. Not actually going to mean too much of anything at all. Just continuing to shove. Does have a decent CS advantage, but that is going to be a wave being pushed in, or at least half of one, towards Jiwoo. So he's going to grab that, and there we go. Nice. Look at that value. Even gets Aurora the Slayer. Nicely played. Clear is likely dead. Yeah, Gideon going to move on in as, all right, the train not going to be interrupted. That's why the Scion is picked into the Poppy oftentimes, because the unstoppable onslaught is pretty good. And look at this, Clear is still trying to bait, and Nongshim, they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I do think that Nongshim with the faster group up here should feel pretty fine about the situation, although...
Yep, Lehends goes in. Untargetable is Raptor, though, as there's another crash down from Kellin. Nicely done. The bleed's still working. There's the Flash Emperor's Divide, and that is going to deliver them a beautiful heroic charge from Gideon. Seismic Shove goes wide, and Nongshim able to regroup and head towards these grubs.
Nongshim are just aware from start to finish, every single member of BNK, where they were, the choke point they had to go through. And going back to the question about when does BNK's comp actually fight, well, this was definitely not where I thought the first one would occur, where they would actually commit in, but they did, and it was disastrous. So Raptor will secure this at least.
Yeah, Gideon does still have Flash, as Vicla going to get that Flash out of him. So nicely played, but still, that is just for a grub. And that is to deny the feats of strength there as well. So Weaver's Wall comes in. Lehends, very awkward spot, does have to use his flash at the same time. And so not a lot of those remaining here on the Nongshim side. As Clear, just kind of hoping that Kingen sometimes stops bully.
Yeah, maybe hoping
a bit mean
for a peripheral issue. Yeah, at least he didn't have to flash there. Well, was able to use his extreme tankiness to just take damage and walk away, sadly. There's a bit of a miss there, but that's okay. It happens. You know, he's still even in CS, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I actually feel like Clear's been playing out this lane as best as he possibly can. Has his Warden's Mail now completed. Kingen looking for that Trinity Force, which is going to be the first item of this more AD variety Nidalee that we are seeing.
Yeah, deny a demolish proc.
Yep. Clear doesn't have teleport, so this damage is sticking.
He has 2 biscuits, but
that is
not hungry.
Biscuits, yeah.
He is going to stay, actually.
It looks like he's going to be okay. Hasn't eaten any of said biscuits either.
Yeah, he's just kind of trying to absorb the pressure and chilling. If you can clear the wave and deny the demolish proc, you're winning. But in this case, he will not. He was able to do it last time, but sadly, it's going to be another plate on the next wave here. Kingen actually made a stick the turret aggro. Looks like he wants to, but I think he just happily wait for the next wave. This game state here is exactly what you would expect, I would say, for these two compositions. The lead the Ezreal had didn't lead to anything, so, you know, that bottom lane, sure, he's got control there, but doesn't mean anything if you can't get your jungler over there to take the dragon. Plate does finally go over here, Kingen will back. And...
oh, that was satisfying.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of satisfying for the Nidalee, I would say, though.
Yes, no, the plate definitely feels better, but nice of Clear to be able to get most of those minions. As we can see now, just chasing Kingen down there towards the top side, but we are looking elsewhere. I don't know whether Clear really wanted to, as, yeah, nice little pounce.
Well, you know,
gets Kingen out of the way.
He's getting grass stacks as well. He's got to get those.
Hey, there.
Can't just be Kingen who gets those, or suddenly he'll be less tanky than Nidalee.
Which would be very unfair in an already unfair scenario.
He's gotta hit that cat.
Oh no, spear connected. And so now, Gideon making his way up. Oh, he's hex splashing. And not really too much more going to happen. Raptor moving towards the top side. And here having a look in the bottom lane, it is a slight lead from Diable, but nothing too much there to speak of. So looking up at the top of your screen, about 800 gold is going to be what separates BNK and Nongshim.
A back here to come through from Kellin is interesting.
Oh dear. Kingen is going to have to try and pounce his way out of this one, but I don't know whether it's necessarily going to work. There's the flash, as Kingen didn't quite have the pounce cooldown back off yet. And so now with no flash, might be a little bit more dangerous to play out this top lane as some rocks go down in the mid lane and another Emperor's Divide being looked for and will be found. The flash comes through, but it's still going to slam Vicla into the wall of Sand Soldiers. And Gideon and Calix look real good with this combo.
Yeah, really clean here from Calix and Gideon. And Vicla didn't respect it. Tried to flash, but it was too late. And he is slammed into the wall just the same. Really good play there from the mid-jungle duo of Nongshim. And topside, Raptor didn't commit the ult. Decided not to try to chase Kingen, was happy with the flash, but I don't know if he should have been, as it's just going to be a TP back to lane, and the harassment continues.
-1, unfortunately, there for Nongshim. Things were looking so good until the cannon was missed. As Kingen here towards the top lane is going to miss that last spear, but now has his Trinity Force complete.
Yeah. That's a bit of a large problem.
Yes.
It's not a lot of good news here for BNK just yet. Kellin has control of this choke point. They do have the TP in from Clear. See if they can turn this into a team fight, but it's so awkward.
Yeah, there's the crash down from Kellin to try and get him out of there, but that's a decent wall. Gideon gets rid of 2, though, and then the heroic charge onto Vicla. He puts down some rocks and tries to get rid of them, but Lehends just catches him out, and Calix grabs another one. Now they're looking to make their way back in as Kellin finds a Magnet Storm. Lehends gets the Solar Flare gorgeously, though. Another heroic charge. Gideon is on an absolute tear today. My God, this guy.
And Diable just wasn't even there. There's no damage in this fight once you lose your Talia. And now Kingen is just back where he belongs in the top lane.
Yeah.
So he'll take a little bounce there, but I don't think he really minds. Calix picks up a plate. Additionally, on top of all the damage done here.
1-0-3 on this Poppy, my God.
2-man. And then now it's a 3v3, and Calix has Prio, and guess who's dead? Your only damage dealer, Vicla, because look where Diable is. He's in the bottom lane, he's chilling, he was catching the wave. And the Kai'Sa is here, the damage is unreal. Gideon plays this fight so beautifully. And then gets the grubs as well.
Yeah, unless this is indicating that there was a steal? 300, 200, Treasure Barrage. There we go. Nicely done by Diable.
Oh, see, Diable was helping, actually. He was there, never mind.
And this is actually really huge because it does mean that BNK are now even. 3-3 as far as grubs. No Void Mites now available for Nongshim. And that might be something that they can rely on later on. Good flash there from Clear, but still has to use it to avoid Gideon, who's continuing to be everywhere.
Kingen wishes they had that 4th grub because he's PvE this game.
Yes.
But he's, you know, he's still like, well, I guess I'm still hitting the Scion. It's fine.
Alright, Gideon gonna move on over.
Fighting for blue buff here.
Lehends and Kellin spot one another. Raptor does find the smite. That's nicely done. But that is just Nongshim backing away. Continuing to have almost a 3,000 gold lead as the Scion heads down towards that bottom side of the map. And we'll be able to grab the minion wave that does turn up. But now won't have that unstoppable onslaught for the next fight.
Yeah, the game is not done, Atlus, but it's feeling like it may be spiraling towards an insurmountable lead here that Nongshim have. 4 kills to 0, 3,000 gold, lots of plate gold picked up. The Scion obviously getting bullied, but I want to go back to the draft because I feel like if you had picked Renekton or if you had picked Aatrox, sure, you wouldn't have the same front line for your Ezreal in this comp, but you would have at least had some power in some of these early skirmishes where you have a top lane champion that has a lot of agency to get you through those early skirmishes before the Ezreal hits 2 items, something that would work well with the Taliyah shove and the dive you already have with this Naafiri. And I think picking this Scion blind has been a mistake a lot of teams have made here in the LCK. It really just isn't working out.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're just seeing the symptoms of it all over the map.
Like, the trades there we did see were kind of all right for Clear, and I think that if they are ever able to get themselves into an honest 5v5, then they are going to be able to find some angles. Because, of course, Scion does have the ulti, can avoid the steadfast presence being a problem, and that gives them a way to engage that isn't just rel flash in with a magnet storm. And so that's, I understand, like, the thinking here. But unfortunately, Nongshim are just playing too well.
Yeah, and I mean, if Ezreal has 2 items when all of that's going down, sure.
Yeah.
But by the time he has 2 items, this what is now, at this moment in time, nearly a 3,000 gold lead will probably be larger, unfortunately, unless something really changes here. They were able to pick up the dragon super late, by the way, but they got it, as Vision Toggle here is scary.
Yeah, Trap not going to... Oh, the little doggo stepped on it! Oh, man.
At least it's not a hot doggo.
Yeah, true. And at least he doesn't need to worry about spears because he is, of course, the Naafiri. So she just kind of ignores them because she's got little doggos all hanging around.
Diable picks up a longsword. The zoom in there, I think, really showcasing how far away he is from hitting that 2-item spike in this game. And this is just going to be another free turret, it looks like. Demolish procs.
Feats of strength. So that is Nongshim locking it down. Some upgraded shoes now going to be there as the Unstoppable Onslaught is going to bring the Scion to a wall. And Clear doesn't exactly have a huge health bar and then just gets stunned up. Even the Mystic Shot is not going to connect True Shot Barrage, but it's not going to take down the Kai'Sa before she kills the Scion. And Kingen, in the meantime, is in the bottom lane destroying turrets.
2 turrets down here.
All right, Diable's getting angry. He wants to take matters into his own hands. It's kind of working, as Gideon is looking for a Rift Herald. And unfortunately, every time BNK go for a play this series, it feels like Nongshim say, all right, I guess we'll take all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, remember how I said that lead was going to get bigger? It's now 5,000 gold off of 3 turrets. They got 3, all 3. And do you get Lehends? I'm not sure.
Lehends going in, gets the flash. That's an immediate cleanse as the heroic charge doesn't quite do enough. As Diable then finds an Azir. Lehends also surviving for so incredibly long as Vicla looking for Jiwoo on the backline and does manage to find him. Clear teleported in, Gideon gets another heroic charge. The seismic shoves are just not finding the mark, and it's a double kill for Kingen. BNK are just falling apart in this series as Vicla, with no more mana left, is looking to try and get something back, but Clear and him just gonna have to walk away.
I keep going back to that question I asked earlier. When do you fight? They forced this one, and it looked like maybe the best case scenario they were ever going to have is Jiwoo kind of face planted into the fight. They have the Taliyah, they have the rocks, but still so far behind at this point. As yeah, this one was just it was just sadness. I don't really want to watch this initial part of this fight again. As like Clear gets taken out, then you roll it forward here, and it's like, oh, did Lehends get caught? And no, actually, he just helped set up the rest of the fight. Jiwoo comes in here, avoids the Magnet Storm, then goes all in, but ends up getting punished here as Calix shows up. Vicla is here on top of Jiwoo. Calix is trying to layer damage. He doesn't know exactly which angle because the fight's so weird. He wants to go for the Emperor's Divide. And then Nongshim end up trading up here as Kingen shows up and picks up 2. Still no Emperor's Divide, and this exchange has the flash. Doesn't need to commit it, and it looked good until it didn't, and these champions don't work super well together just yet. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. And Nongshim are just too far ahead.
Yeah, and Gideon is too good on this Poppy as well, man. All right, if at first you don't succeed, let's just go for it again as he's in and then he's out. as Jiwoo is still in a whole lot of trouble, as there's another crash down here from Kellin. Magnet Storm picks up a couple, as now Lehends looks for an angle. The killer instinct is so good as Diable. Can they protect him? The answer is yes! Lehends gonna go down as well, and the Emperor's Divide just to get rid of a Scion is not the play you want to see. BNK back on the map, and Kingen is in the bottom lane, doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, Kingen is just going to keep pushing this until Clear shows up. We'll get an extra turret, so gold lead, slight deficit kind of improved here by BNK, but still, it's a big team fight win for them. It puts Ezreal closer to those 2 items. We're going to need a few more of these before we can sing their praises here, but this fight shows that it is possible, and it was also not super well played out here by the side of Nongshim, as yes, this engage looks very silly at first. He gets knocked away by Gideon again here, but Diable is so well protected in this fight. His positioning is phenomenal. He just layers in damage before Calix can get there, and when they do finally engage on him, they just engage to their deaths. And Jiwoo just walks again right into the waiting arms of BNK, trying to get that kill onto the Ezreal, who survives, and they end up picking up 3 kills here in the fight.
Yeah, Vicla is now pretty scary. You can see 2 items now completed. We almost have the Muramana done for the Ezreal, as well as this Hextech Dragon now being started. BNK were able to get the first Drake, which was that Cloud to start us off. So it will just be an equalization of dragons if Nongshim were able to get it, and it looks like BNK have no interest in contesting for this one. So another Chemtex. Oh my god, there have been way too many of these, man. You are absolutely right. It is getting curious.
Yeah, a little suspicious. I'm just saying. I think everyone's kind of turning the other way, but I'm looking like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it feels like there's an abnormally large amount. As Diable is
This is another engage here as Gideon trying to be the hero, and Clear always finds these angles onto Jiwoo. Raptor looking for it as well. The Magnet Storm, it's just a dog pile, quite literally, on top of this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and Jiwoo's having a bit of a rough mid-game here. Constantly getting caught or just engaging in a little bit too early and dying.
Yeah, well, Emperor's Divide going to throw Raptor underneath the inner turret. He does go untargetable, but I don't know whether it's quite enough. They do take down Lehends. The dog survives, and the Nidalee is taking another turret. I don't even know whether this is worth for BNK in the end, as Kingen is looking for this 1v1 into Clear as well, or is Clear looking for the 1v1 into Kingen? I'm just not entirely sure, but he is just going to back away after eradicating yet another structure. As now Raptor going untargetable here into Calix, who doesn't have the ulti and is taking a lot of damage from the doggos. The flash forward, conquering Sands, and down goes the Nefiri.
Yeah, Nefiri had to flash earlier, so Raptor does end up going down this time, as Gideon's starting up the Otacon all the while. As this looks like a bait here by Jiwoo, but I mean, they have Weaver's Wall, so, you know, it looked like the Lehends was trying to go, all right, come in, bait him, sell it, and then we're going to turn, but they end up just getting outnumbered here. The Weaver's Wall was really good. Otacon is still being taken in live, so might have to zoom in on that one instead of watching this ensuing fight. As you know, it's funny to watch Raptor go fly, but yeah, that is going to be the Otacon taken just for free in live. Not entirely sure what the vision setup was, as they're looking for something onto Lehends at the same time.
Yep, Lehends dies in the replay, and then is in a bit of trouble here, but you can see, gets that extra life, is now Vicla and Calix staring down one another, but that is a Nash's and a Leandri's, and Calix is real scary right now.
If we look at the back timers of BNK and the very strong vision control that Nongshim had at the top of the map, it's no mystery they were able to kind of sneak this one away. I think even if BNK had an idea about it, it would have been really difficult to get in there and actually challenge without vision, even though it was a very slow Otacon take. You know, we could have just seen Gideon ult them away and say, thank you for showing up, but goodbye. So, I mean, it wasn't really a risky call there from Nongshim, but now it is absolutely going to pay off as they have an insane gold lead on top of now an extra life across these members. I don't think Kingen is too worried, too excited about it, because I don't think he's dying this game, even if they lose. No. And I don't think they're losing, at least not right now.
Oh, Diable taking a bit of damage here from Calix. You can see the burn ticking away, but he's able to offer a bit back himself. Those 2 items are now complete for the Ezreal, as Lehends, he's been a bit of a bad driver in the past, and that is, once again, not going to quite find the angle there, as Shelly's charge is going to be denied. And Nongshim still just setting up this siege while they wait for Kingen to get his work done. I mean, Gideon was spotted there, and look at that. The Demolish proc, it's just dead.
He 3-shots the turret.
Yep. As Aurora the Slayer doesn't quite connect, so Kingen's just able to get himself out of there, and then as the push and pull happens, Nongshim who are able to move in towards this inner turret as Jiwoo. Oh god, okay, Magnus Storm onto 3. Kellin finds the angle, and now they're looking to try and send them home. Picking up some gold in the meantime as well as Calix. Oh god, the Mega Cone is gonna not exactly do what Diable wants it to, and yeah, this Azir is also a bit of a problem as Kingen gonna get knocked up as Clear realizes that, I mean, it's kind of hopeless, isn't it, trying to fight this guy?
There are a few problems, I would say, here on the side of Nongshim that BNK are struggling to solve, and this one may be the biggest of them, as Kingen, he has Sundered Sky, he has his Hullbreaker, he has Res.
Yeah.
Well, he is withdrawn, potentially?
Yeah, the Crashdown comes in. What are we doing, guys? Are we trying to hold on to just see whether we can buy some time?
They want a pet cat, Atlus!
Well, there's the ulti and a flash that they now have to use as they're just trying to... Oh, maybe they're just waiting for the timer? Just hold him in position, guys. And there it is, the buff is now worn off, and now it's a real kill. Congratulations, guys, an extra 100 gold. Unless they can't, there it goes. Okay, so Vicla is able to lock that one down.
Sorry guys, Caster Chris, I said he wasn't gonna die, but I guess he technically did.
Well, he wasn't until
they abused the mechanics.
Kill him, yeah.
They abused the mechanics, and they were like, oh, let's wait and see. Well, I don't know if that's really good news. I don't know if it really is going to give Nongshim pause. This flank may.
Well, Clear doesn't have ulti. As Raptor flips over the wall. Lehends dealing with a whole bunch of pets as there's a nice little knock-up. Weaver's Wall just going to break off the rest of this fight. Lehends trying to get himself out of there. The Crashdown doesn't quite work, but there goes the Leona to start this one off. Gideon getting rid of the Scion so they don't follow up with anything more. And Kingen did have teleport, but he wasn't alive.
Nope. 2 kills. Let's see if they can get more.
All right, Raptor going for even more here as the Emperor's Divide now on cooldown. Diable, they just need to protect him. Another Magnus Storm comes in as there's a beautiful flick. Gideon in trouble though, and down goes Kingen. Sorry, not Kingen, Kellin, the other one with a K. As True Shot Barrage, ooh, looking for the snipe. Doesn't quite get it onto Jiwoo, who is very, very low.
Very low. Didn't have barrier, but had the locket as well as his killer instinct to survive that last exchange. He's super low now, and they're trying to turn around.
Yeah, Clear really doesn't want to use his ultimate. Defensively is Gideon taking a lot of damage. And there he goes, and there he goes down. As the Zombie Scion actually going to be helping out here for a few moments. Calix goes golden, and Clear will find a few autos. Jiwoo just still trying to be useful, but it's so difficult at such a low health bar. And Diable also playing in similar condition.
This is wild. This suddenly just became this random hands game between these two teams. I mean, in the mid lane,
you say suddenly, but the last game I think was exactly that as well.
It's just so weird to see the fact that Nongshim has struggled to control Prio on this dragon, played a little bit fast and loose there in the mid lane, got punished a little bit, and now, despite being up 6,000 gold, can't quite end it, but they have that, of course, control of the bottom side of the map. The inhibitor being down means that the opposite side of the map, where the Baron is always kind of going to be under their control because someone on BNK has to push out that bottom wave. Vicla does not have teleport. He's the closest one to said bottom wave right now. Could potentially Weaver's Wall over, but he's going to be so far away, and this is a huge opportunity once he shows bottom for Nongshim to actually go ahead and start this objective up. They have so much control over this choke point. There's no vision here for BNK whatsoever.
Oh, look at Diable, just immediately Arcane shifts forward. That's what we want to see out of this young man as Jiwoo's in trouble yet again. Raptor managing to pick up the kill pretty comfortably, and that was not the keeper's verdict that Gideon was looking for. Still he's able to run, but is it actually going to get him to safety as Raptor is going to chase him down and say nope, it is absolutely not. As now Clear looking to turn it. Another seismic shove and Diable's over the wall. Lehends in trouble. He does have the Eclipse, but it is not enough to keep him alive. Calix finds 3 with the ulti, but there's no follow-up. Does he need it though? That's the question. He takes down the damage. Shattering strike from Kellin, and Raptor is running away, and I don't think Kellin's going to be as lucky. Why is every fight like this?
I mean, it was so close for BNK. It looked so good for them, but they chased way too deep onto that Azir, and this time Calix pressed his R button, and I think now he's going to press the right-click button on the Nexus turret to try to end the game.
8-0-8!
Yeah.
This guy is absolutely out of control.
Raptor's going to have to somehow buy time for his ultimate here. Maybe that could be enough to try to defend here. 15 seconds on Diable. So many super minions, though, in the base. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and Kingen just does so much damage to these structures as Raptor looks to go untargetable. Clear is going to turn up, and that is going to mean the Nongshim have to vacate the area. So it costs them, yeah, 1 inhibitor turret. Sorry, Nexus turret as Calix. Ooh. Okay, now Nongshim, look for the Baron.
Okay,
and that should be the big winner.
I think that they could have just done this off of the outset, done a reset and come over there, but they decided to try to end the game. They did not get the mid inhibitor, by the way, so that one actually stays alive because they walked through it to try to end. So that's actually huge for BNK. I don't think they can deny this Baron in any world, though. They're just going to try to push out this mid wave preemptively to keep this inhibitor alive. Although,
the Baron's just taken.
Yeah, they thought about maybe going over there, but it was a little bit too slow, and Nongshim still with a massive lead here.
Yeah.
Let's see if maybe the next fight is a little bit cleaner, because this should be an unlosable game, right? As we'll watch this, the Azir on the flank the entire time goes in for the Emperor's Divide. They're way too close to him.
Oh my god.
And he's giga huge. Like, I don't know what else to say.
It's the lethal tempo version as well, so these auto attacks, like each Sand Soldier stab just hurts, man. True Shot Barrage just coming on through here, as I believe that was a dragon. Never mind, it was not. The dragon is ignored. Third Drake, no one cares about. As now Kingen moving back down towards the bottom lane. There is a respawned inhibitor. And Clear just looking for a Mega Cone angle.
Yeah, Raptor gonna hold this dragon. I mean,
it's a bit cute.
If BNK just take this dragon and Nongshim are considering contesting it, but don't actually push anywhere, this Baron may not be real. Let's put
double the damage.
Put those numbers away. Let's put those away.
8-0-8, man. 16 out of 17 kill contribution, no deaths. This is the best I've seen Calix look.
We might be breaking records for damage per minute.
Yeah.
If this game goes as long as for a second it looked like it might.
It's like 1.3, 1.25 or something like that. Like, that's absurd.
Yeah.
K damage. Just ridiculous. Diable, yeah, that's a contribution to that damage per minute stat.
After all,
here down towards the bottom side. Yeah, Vicla on a flank angle as well, looking for a wall, wants to set it up. As Diable able to move out of the way of the soul of Calix is the target, but he's able to, never mind! He's shot down, Diable gets on top of him, Lehends also to be taken out here, and Raptor is able to follow up onto Jiwoo. I don't know whether he's going to survive this as Kingen flashes after him. Diable, you need to hit those! You need to hit those Mystic shots! As Kingen now going to try and take them on a merry goose chase here, and I don't know whether this is going to change the outcome of the game, nor is that True Shot Barrage going to be able to take down Kingen, but Roar the Slayer might be able to slow him down, and Diable able to get in there and finish him off. So
base,
BNK still dealing with the base. Thankfully, these Nexus turrets do respawn.
Looks like that second one is going to survive. I don't think it would be optimal to let it die and then get it to respawn at full health. It does slowly regen, but either way, watching this fight play out, it's a really nicely timed Zhonya's here from Calix, but unfortunately it allows the follow-up to come through so easily, and Jiwoo is completely isolated in this fight. Lehends tries to go for the engage, but there's a cleanse here for Diable and end up chasing them down here. And yeah, there was a little bit of a mom's spaghetti, hand sweaty here for Diable for a second, but that's all right, because they still end up pushing the kitty cat away. They defend their base, and this composition does scale really well, and if you keep kind of messing up the fights, I mean, the Ezreal is going to do way more damage throughput than a Kai'Sa is in almost every scenario, and you remember your top laner is a split pusher, not a team fighter.
Well, we've now got a bit of a battle over a blue buff as the Solar Flare is going to split the Red Sea as Lehends goes in one more time. Gideon out again as Jiwoo. We said he didn't have the damage. That looked like a lot of damage. Only onto the Rel though, and he might actually have to trade his life for it as he opts into a 1v1 versus Diable. Now Calix is just throwing them all away. Lehends, can you survive? The answer is absolutely yes as Diable gets himself over the wall, but the rest of his teammates are all dead, ladies and gentlemen. And Gideon slams the Ezreal into the wall, and now it's a Scion against the world. And I'm having a hard time working out how the Scion lives in those odds. As now Kingen dashing on top of him. These inhibitors still dead for quite some time, and the Scion is just going to be relegated to his fountain. The Nexus goes down, and Nongshim are going to be the first team to 2-0 BNK. Here in 2025 LCK, Calix having an absolute day out here today.
I feel like he just took Gideon's palm votes away, man.
I know, it's actually pretty savage.
It's actually criminal. I want POG back. Because I want
yeah, they would have definitely gotten just one each, right? And it would have been fine.
Yeah, I want players to be celebrated. I'm sad about it, but
why can't we have both?
I think even though Gideon had an amazing game too, in the early parts, Calix won the game. The rest of the team was kind of messing around and having problems and making mistakes, and Calix, he was like, Nah, I'd like to win the game, actually, so I'm going to do that. And it was a great series from GIDEON nonetheless, and Nongshim, it was trickier than it necessarily needed to be, but the comp worked as it should have. You know, Kingen getting the advantages top side, the Azir scales. Jiwoo sacrificed himself for the greater mid laner to clean up the team fight. Yeah, and that's what went down in most of this late game of game 2. And like I said, it's the first time BNK gets 2-0'd. I'm 0-2 for Preds today. I thought DRX was on the rise. I thought they were on the way back. I thought KT was looking down.